Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. Let's draw Pochita and Denji. Am I saying it right? Let me know in the comments. I don't watch anime, and I know the name is tricky to pronounce, but I'll teach you step by step. Come with me. I'll start the tutorial, but I don't have a ruler. So I'm gonna use this drawing that I made in one of my latest tutorials where I used 100% colored pencils to make this drawing. So if you want, just check out the videos on the channel. There's a step-by-step guide for you. Music. I'm going to use it, guys, to make a grid here on our paper. So I'm dividing here more or less. Music, the middle of our paper. Sometimes, as you can see, but I'm doing this by eye. I'm not using a ruler because I even lost my ruler. Music. Okay, let's go. This one is already enough for us to make our whole drawing. We're going to use this grid, and whatever I do inside each little square, you do the same so you can get your drawing just right. We're going to start with his face. Okay? So look, I'll start here with this line and let's make the face. Look, the line reached our grid line here. Now we're going to do a bit of his hair, because his hair falls a lot in front of his face, so we need to do at least this part of his hair. To continue our drawing, look, I'm looking at the reference. I'm not drawing without looking at a reference. So yes, I'm using a reference to make this drawing. Now I'm going to do his ear. Look, all right, good. Let's finish a bit of his hair on this side, right? So we're going to come here and finish the hair. Music. He's gonna have, guys, music like a bandana, no, right? Like an eye patch on him. Let's leave it like that for now. Okay, let's do this. Let's draw his face, and then we'll finish the rest of the drawing. I'll start with the eye. Okay, I'll make a line here. Music. Music, 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 music. Look, look, Zenotto. And then we come down here and finish. His eye makes the little circle, and until we make this little circle here, the eye isn't finished. Okay, I did that. Now I'm going to draw a line right here above his eye and the eyebrow a little higher up. Alright, now let's do the other eye, which in this case is covered and will be easier to draw. So look, I'm going to draw a line here. What is this line, guys? I'm going to make it thicker. This line here. It's the string that's holding the patch on his eye. Alright, look, so the patch is going to come here. Then here, it's going to touch here, right? Okay, his patch comes here. Look, look. See, and then, look. This here will come here, this line moves. And here, look, two little lines, which will be the eyebrow. Okay? Alright, okay? Now let's finish his hair. I'll start here where we started to this side, but here by his ear there are some small hairs. Look, so in this spot, here it's just these little layers, and then we start up here again. Look, alright, and there's really no secret here, guys. Look. Okay. Here, we do another strand. And now here, on the other side, like I said, right? Aren't you going to show his other ear? So it actually makes it even easier to do this part of the drawing. And then let's go. This side here looks kind of weird, right? There's just hair, no face or anything, because that little creature will appear. I think it's a demon, right, guys? Sorry for the name, but if I'm not mistaken, that's what it is. We're gonna make him here now. The one that's like a little chainsaw. Look, his eye is right here, look. You just have to make a little ball and then a little ball inside the ball. Really easy, right? Let's go, look. I'm gonna start here, look. I'll pull here, look, got here, look. You just make a little line out from this mark, did that, okay? We're going to make the chainsaw up here. Look, the saw, to be honest, right? See? Here, we're going to make the little teeth of the chainsaw, okay? Okay, let it go a little past as well. Here we're going to make the handle of the chainsaw. Look. And that's it. Now this part doesn't look so empty anymore, see? Now let's just finish up. Look, pull it down here, okay? But here, see, my hand is going over the graphite and it's smudging, but it's nothing that will mess up our drawing. So that's it. We did this here, and here we're going to do it. Like her little face, see? Look, it's going to come here. See? It's like her little mouth. Look, right here. Look, here will be the mouth. Look, make the two little teeth here. Look. All done, look, great. What are we going to do here now? Her little hand. We're not going to finish the rest of it here because the rest will be completed down here at the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. I took a break and returned so we could work, always keeping the pencil sharp. All right, let's finish. Here's the hair. I think we won't need this little strand here because we're going to pull the hair. Look, his face is here, see? So now his face is complete in our drawing. Here is the collar of his shirt. Look, come down here. All right, guys, let's do this. His clothes over there, look, will come all the way down here, come all the way down here, see? Add some details here. You can do it here too. Do it here as well, see? All right, guys, here's the thing. We're going to have to draw a hand here, see? If you have trouble drawing hands, it's really easy. Become my student and there I'll teach you the right way to draw hands. Alright, it's really easy with sketches until you become an expert. Look, here his body comes down, right? Look, it's going to come here. Here comes his little hand. Look, 1, 2, 3 little fingers. Okay, cool. I think like this, the finger is good. Our character is holding him, right? I made it look like there are 3 fingers here, but we need 4. You come here to make it look like he has at least 5 fingers, right? Look, now I'm going to make another little arm here for our dear little orange creature. So I don't say what he is here. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 little fingers. And now we're going to make our character, our protagonist, holding it. So look. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now his 5th finger. Will be here. Look. Okay, big guy, this finger even looks weird. Now it's good, right? Let's finish our drawing then. Look, do the rest of his clothes. Here, let me see, more or less here. Draw down the other part of his clothes with some details here too. And guys, I think that's it for our drawing. Look. Let's outline and color it to see how it turns out. And for the outlining part, guys, I actually skipped ahead so the video wouldn't get too long. We've already started coloring our drawing. I started adding the shadows to his skin tone, which is kind of a burgundy, or you can even use brown. And then after that, we started with our skin tone, which is a sand color. So I took the pencil here and started coloring directly, already coloring with the sand color without layering because I'm using a Prismacolor. And it ends up giving you a bit more ease. If you're using a regular pencil, you'll have to apply several layers so you don't end up with white spots. Then we took the black marker, colored the eyes and the black parts, and we're about to start. For the hair, since I didn't have this shade of orange, which is a lighter orange, I also ended up using markers to color here, his hair part. Alright, so we color it with this very light orange and we do the shadows with brown. So we use brown to make the shadows on top of the orange in his hair. And after everything, we'll take it. The orange, which is a darker orange, it's not that light orange. And it's also not that dark, it's an orange as you can see. And then we colored it orange there and made the shadows on his body. And that's Pochita, that's the name of this character, right? Or am I wrong? I didn't like the shade, and I went over it with a colored pencil, making it a little lighter. But the shadow part, I think it was consistent, so I left the shadow part and his clothes. Guys, she's white, but I don't like to leave it completely white, so what did I do? I used a light gray and then I came in with this shade here, which is kind of a gray. See? It's like a paler gray, you know? I began adding shadows. I usually did 2 or 3 layers there with the marker, so if you're using colored pencils, you'll also need to do several layers. And then, guys, I colored there with different shades. Brown, his eye. I colored the blade part, right? That's on his little head. I colored it with shades of gray and the tongue in pink. And that was the result of our drawing, say. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if you found it easy or difficult, and if you liked the final result. Alright, well that's it. See you in our next video.